Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This part of my channel I have titled as Once Upon a Garden. So this section of my channel, you'll see I have like different areas on my YouTube page, and they are separated because my family and I do lots of different videos. So this will be the Once Upon a Garden section of my channel. So welcome to it. My name is Pernethyia, and I consider myself to be not really an amateur gardener. I think I'm going to stop calling myself that, but I consider myself to be intermediate, I guess. There's beginners and there's intermediate, and there's one more in between, and there's expert. And I feel like I'm intermediate. I've been doing this for about 6 years. I watched my grandfather and participated in some of his growing endeavors when I was a little girl, and he grew everything from watermelons and cantaloupe. We had fig trees, banana trees. What else do we have in the yard? That's all I can really remember at the moment, but I just remember him planting a lot and having a serious green thumb and bringing in big huge watermelons and cantaloupes and things for us to eat. Me walking through this huge fig tree, felt like I was in the secret garden. That tells how old I am. I remember the secret garden, the old secret garden. But walking through there and picking figs off the trees and just eating them flat out. So those are the experiences that I want to give my girls. I have 2 little girls, beautiful little girls, and that's the experience I want to give them, what I had growing up. So to bring that experience to life, I went ahead, once we moved into our apartment after I got married to my husband, I started planting things on our balcony. I planted successfully and harvested cucumbers, tomatoes, lettuce, and I had my attempts at, I can't remember what else, but I planted quite a few things back there every spring, and I kept a lot of them pretty healthy through the fall and winter, and then after that I kind of scratch it and start all over again. So that kind of worked itself out. But now that we're in a home and I have a beautiful large piece of property, I was able to start planting a garden again, and I had just had my little one. So you know, when we first moved in our home, I pretty much got pregnant right after, and I had my little one, so it kind of put me behind my plans that I had for our home and the things that we wanted to do in it by almost 2 years. So she'll be a year soon, and so it's pretty much been about 2 years that I have not been able to put my ideas in, bring them to fruition. So now that I am, you can see that the title of this video is Planting a Fall Garden. Now if you look at my past video, which you'll see links for that all over the place, my previous videos showed my garden from spring and into summer. So I planted it like early June, and well, I guess you can call it the summer. I started buying the plants in like late April, and then early June I planted them, and we got a lot of things that came from it. We have plenty of squash. Almost every 2 days we had squash in the house. So I sauteed squash with salt and pepper, cooked them down. My intent was to make like spaghetti squash, but I never got around to it, and we just started picking. Every time we picked, a new squash was growing. So that worked out well. And then I also planted eggplants. I have 4 eggplants, 3 pepper plants. One is like the little small skinny bell peppers, and then another is the big green bell peppers you see in a grocery store. Watermelon, cantaloupe, strawberries. I have 2 aloe vera plants. I have thyme, dill, parsley, basil, which I love, and I started some potatoes out there. So the transition now, I have some seedlings that came in to prep me for the fall. I took my attempt at corn, but I think it's just too warm for corn, so I might have to put the corn off until next year. And then I got another seedling. It was pumpkin, and one was peas, and one is a bean plant. So my goal for all of that was to start implementing that into my fall garden. So So that's what I'm here to talk to you about today, is planning your fall garden. Usually this is my first time getting to like plant a fall garden in a backyard with like the elements. Because planting for the past few years, I've only experienced like a few bugs and a few elements because I'm on a balcony of an apartment complex. So, you know, there's not very many negative to it. It was a lot of positive. Cucumbers were healthy, tomatoes were healthy, everything grew. And I just made sure everything got sunlight as best it could and water best it could, fertilized, things like that. Very, very easy on the back of a balcony, in a swimming pool even. So now that I'm in a home, I get to experience the true elements of my area and the bugs that come with it. So, like I said, all the things that I have planted now, a lot of them are going to be pulled up. Growth has slowed down in some of them. Some of them are just driving me crazy, and I probably won't plant. I'll plant them, but I'll plant them next time in a different planting medium, in a different container, and in a different soil situation. So I had to pull up my tomatoes. I had determinate and indeterminate varieties, which I'll explain in another video, but for the sake of now, determinate varieties already have a determined number of tomatoes that they can grow, and they already have a certain size, height, everything that it can be. Once it grows all the tomatoes, that's it. So they pretty much are a fast growing tomato plant. They grow everything, you harvest it, and the plant's pretty much done. Indeterminate plants are the total opposite. There's no determined size, there's no determined number of tomatoes it can grow. You keep taking care of it, it's going to keep growing. I've seen some on people's YouTube channels grow as big as like 7 feet tall, like really, really huge tomato plants. Well, mine didn't do too well. I had them planted next to peppers and eggplants, and I know that was part of the reason why. I also had them back in the corner because it took up so much space. So I don't think it got as much sun as it should have gotten. And I also think when I first got them, I wanted to be like the person that revives the dying plant. So I bought a plant that was already on the verge of dying, and I really didn't pay much attention to anything else going on with the plant. I just said, oh, it's a little wilted and this, and I bought it, and I think that was a big mistake, and I think it messed up the soil in that area. I don't think it spread too far because my peppers were nearby and that one eggplant was near it, and they were okay. So I don't think, you know, it affected too much. I think it just affected that area. So I'm actually going to take that soil out, revamp that whole little space, and get it refreshed for whatever I plant there next for the fall. My squash did amazing, like I said, but it reached the end of its prime. It had one that was trying to grow, and it looked like it's like, nah, I'm not coming out. And so it's shriveling up and trying to become mushy. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull the rest of them up. I have planted 3 squash, and you can see it in the pictures, and they did beautifully. So I'm gonna pull those and replace them with all my fall stuff. So for fall, the question is, what do I do? I'm a beginning, you know, it's my first time planting in ground or in a raised bed or in a container. Where do I start? If you're planting outdoors, it's a little more, just a bit more challenging because you have to pay attention to the weather. So there's something called the first frost date. Where I live, the first frost date is November 17th, and I'm going to show you how to find yours. So let me go ahead and get the screen set up so you can see how to find your first frost date. The first frost date is extremely important because it tells you your window of time to plant and harvest your crops. It pretty much lets you know when to start planting, when to harvest. And I'm going to show you something that I found too. I'm going to place the link for it down below, but I'm also going to let you take a quick view of that. So in the search box, I'm going to blow this up. I'm going to be hidden possibly behind this box. If I am, I apologize, but here it is. You're going to type in first frost date, and in the first frost date box, the first one, since I've googled this like quite a few times, the first one that pops up is the almanac.com. So click that one. That one usually gives you the best date, the the most accurate date for your area. So I'm just gonna type a random zip code of a place where I used to hang out when I was a kid. And see, a minute ago, my computer was like, I'm not doing all this with you right now. And it shut down, it started moving slow and the whole shebang, and it wasn't happening. So here it is. You can see right here, this is New Orleans, Audubon, Louisiana. Last spring frost is February 9th, and the first fall frost is December 16th. So those 2 dates are what you want to put in your calendar. The most important for right now, for the sake of this video, is the first fall date. First fall frost date. That's December 16th. So you take your a calculator or something of that sort, and in your calculator you can put December 16th. And matter of fact, I'll show you on here as well. So let me open up a new window. And let's say you pick lettuce. Lettuce takes about 65 days. So I put 65 days before December 16th. And it'll give me a date. See that? Monday, October 12th, 2020. That date right there is when you can actually, that's the last date technically that you can plant your lettuce and harvest it in that 65-day period. And I'm going to show you how to find out those dates and how to figure out when to plant something, when to harvest it, and how to take care of it in between. So I'm going to show you that. I'm going to try in this video. I don't like my videos to be too lengthy because I like to give you the information and let you get started on a project. But I want you to get as much information as I've gotten so far with my research these past few months. And I want you to be able to be successful with your garden planning as well. So we have our first frost date. My first frost date is November 17th where I live. So we're going to roll with that frost date. And I'm going to also say I want to do iceberg lettuce. So I'm going to put November 17th in there. And I have September 13th. So if I wanted to plant lettuce, I put September 13th, I plant my seed. My seed would start to grow. And by November 17th, I can harvest lettuce. Now, depending on the weather, things change in the South all the time. We've had hot falls and hot Christmases, very, very warm. If that is likely with iceberg lettuce, who knows what you'll get. It might burn up. You might, if it's too cold, they'll slow down growth. If it's just right, then you'll get a just right lettuce season and crop, and you just never really know, which leads to succession planting. But I'll also talk about that in another video. But take that date of the item that you want to grow and put that in just like I did 65 days before, or however many days before your first frost date, and that's how you'll know the date that you need to plant your seed. And that is the last date you get to plant. My suggestion, because we never know what our weather is in the zone that I'm in, zone 7, 8, 9, you never really know what you're getting with the weather. Give yourself about a 2-week period beforehand. So about 2 weeks before September 30th is almost September 1st, roughly the end of August. You want to plant during that time. That way it'll give you enough time to harvest, enough time to, if you want to clean your garden completely and prep for the winter in that way, or if you want to cover certain plants, it'll give you that time to make those decisions. So that's step 1. All right, so I'm going to take this off my screen. All right, so step 2 to prepping and planning for your fall garden is me showing you what I plan. Well, actually, I told you what I have now, but I guess I'll tell you what I want to pull. So what I have right now in my garden are some squash. Like I said, they're dying, so I'm pulling those out. I have a couple of baby watermelons that are trying to do something, but they're getting so out of the way that I'm really, really tempted to pull those, but I might just leave them through the fall and see how they do. I have one baby watermelon, it's about that size. It's hanging in there, so I'm gonna leave him. I have 2 cantaloupes that are coming. They're about this big around right now. I'm going to leave them through the fall. I have a pepper plant. One of them has leaf blight on it, so I'm treating that one, sending it to that one. But so far, it's still been growing my peppers. I can actually show you guys. So it's still growing my peppers. Look how cute. And they can get bigger than this. I pick them early just because of the leaf blight situation. I don't want them to affect any of my vegetation. But so far, that's what I got for that. And then I have the big like green bell peppers that you get, that you see in the grocery store, most common ones. So I have those growing. I have 4 eggplants. I'm going to actually, I just really believe they're going to do better in the fall. The summer it's just been too hot. I've had to cut a lot of the leaves back, and it kind of slowed down the growth. Plants are very, very wise. They know, okay, we don't have enough support. The plant's not getting enough energy, it's not getting enough sunlight, you know, enough chlorophyll is coming in for me to produce anything. And once I trimmed the leaves back, because I had an issue with bugs the first time around, all the leaves just started coming back, and that's when I started to see the purple flowers again. And I'm gonna go and self-pollinate a lot of them and see if I can get some growth going, because my cucumbers have grown so quickly that they're blocking. I don't think the bees are noticing that they're there. And they're not big enough, you know, for them to pay like much attention, and they're more attracted to the yellow than they are the purple. So I have that going on. So I'm gonna go and self-pollinate them soon to see if I can get an eggplant out of them. Next, the cucumbers are right next to the eggplant. My eggplant, this particular type, and it's just a regular purple, like fat, long eggplant. They're very hardy and durable, and they can withstand like a lot of stress and stuff like that. Like even bugs, like the caterpillars and stuff like that. Very few things tend to bother the eggplant. I'm really, really liking this. I'm hoping that it's able to produce some fruit or vegetation for me. But right next to it are the cucumbers. The cucumbers in the ground have come with so many problems. I just planted them. Now they grew fast. I just planted them maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and they're already at the top of the trellis. I made like this little teepee trellis out of some bamboo sticks. They're already at the top of that. And the issue with them is right now they have gnats on them, on the underside of some of the leaves, but it's only on one side of the plant, if that makes sense. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 teepee style trellises. And on the first one, I just went and yanked it out. I didn't even feel like fighting with how many gnats were on that one. So I yanked it out of the ground. Second one, on the second teepee and the third and the fourth, they're pretty good. But when I yanked from the first one, the first teepee, of course, that took 2 of the plants away. So the third and the fourth plant that are left, I trellised it along to the first set of teepees, where the other gnat-infested cucumbers were. And now those leaves that are just on that particular trellis have gnats on them. I saw a few ants crawling on the other teepee, the cucumbers on the other teepee, but so far, like, I gotta figure out what to do with these gnats. So I went this morning, I found some YouTube videos on how to tame those things. You got your neem oil, you have hydrogen peroxide, which is hard to find thanks to the pandemic. What else? It was quite a few recipes that I'm going to try. Hopefully I get to try them today to see if I can get rid of them. I even found like a Vaseline meets the yellow plate solution to catch the bigger gnats that try to lay the eggs. I catch them and then find a way to clean my soil that's around it and see if I can save them. And then I'm going to trim the bottom leaves of the cucumber plant away to keep things from easily crawling up the trellis. And just think about bugs, look, I'm getting all itchy, so y'all excuse me. But so yeah, so far what I've learned at this point about what I have now is just to be very, very diligent. Of course, it's been raining like a madhouse. If I had a container to catch all the water, you would not believe. I probably have enough water to last us, feels like, till December, as much rain as it has come around here. Now the plants, of course, they're loving it because they're getting that deep, deep soak. But at the same time, it's bringing so many bugs because it can't dry. It don't have time to dry. The sun's hardly out sometimes. So thankfully this morning it rained a little bit and now the sun is out full force, and I'm going to go out there with bees, with some of the gnats, some of the mosquitoes, and see what I can take down, tackle, and trash before I run out of my time. So now that you know what I have and what I'm pulling out to make room for something else, I'm going to show you some of the things I plan to grow. How exciting. So in the midst of showing you what I plan to grow, I went to Target to do a shop, because of course I do ship. You guys know that if you watch my channel. And I do Instacart too every once in a while. And I lucked out when I went to Target and I found, matter of fact, I'll backtrack. I watched this girl, her YouTube channel is called Roots and Refuge Farm, I think. And yeah, I think it's Roots and Refuge. I love her channel. I love her personality. I love her husband. I love the dynamic, everything about their channel. I just love. A guy that watches her channel sent her a gift. The gift was like a big old drawer set full of little small compartments, and she decided to use them to carry her seeds. I was like, oh, that's a good idea, because I have limited space, not very many places to put my seeds. That would be awesome to have a special place. So I went to Target to do a ship shop. Of course, Target has a little $5, $10 section in the front of the store. And as I looked down to see something else, I looked to the left of that and I found these. So I bought two of them. Two of these bad boys. See, they're a little awkward for me to hold like this, but I bought two of them. So the drawers are just shy of being perfect, the perfect size to hold my the seed packets. So I have my seed packets here. I just had to fold them like slightly to get them to fit, because see, they're like just, I'll do it this way. See, I had it slightly bigger than the container, so I stick them in like so, sideways, and I fold them down just a little and they fit. So it's not too bad. And of course, once you take seeds out of this, it's not like it's a resealable container. I'm gonna have to close it back anyway, so they'll be folded and taped shut or something like that, so I'm ready to use them again. So I was excited to be able to store my seeds, and I also went ahead and like made some, I just used regular old writing paper and made labels. So I have a veggie seeds container, or section, a flower seeds one, fruit seeds, and then stuff I'm planting right now. The reason I have a planting right now section is because in a few days, it was supposed to come yesterday, and I'm getting very, very anxious and tempted to like call and say, where are my seeds? But I have like a gazillion seeds coming. I do. Let me see if I can find the list for you guys. I have like a gazillion seeds coming. Well, it feels like a gazillion to somebody that's just starting out with a garden in their backyard. But let's see. So I went to a website called seedsnow.com because seeds have been hard to find. They've been out of stock. Everybody's planting because everybody's home for the pandemic. Not a problem. We want everybody to plant. I would love everybody to just be able to just plant seeds. Just do it, because it's so fun. It's so easy. So from seedsnow.com, I have winter density lettuce coming, tender crisp celery, a large pack, which is about half a cup of wheat, Florida giant watermelon, crimson sweet watermelon, green grape tomato, which is an indeterminate, so I can grow this puppy as long as I can try to. Creole tomatoes, they're also indeterminate. Hot pink samplers, so you get a free sample pack when you order from them of Swiss chard. I'm excited about that. Winter squash, the spaghetti squash, Matador Viking spinach, small sugar pumpkins, so for my kitties, they're pumpkin patch, my babies. Little Marvel green peas, red burgundy onions, and they're short day onions, so I can actually put them in a shady spot and they'll still grow. And then I have evergreen bunching onions and dwarf long pod okra, top soy mustard greens, honey rock melon, iceberg lettuce, lavender loofah, I'm excited about that, Morris head and collards, bush beans, tongue of fire bush beans. Now these puppies are the most exquisite thing that's going to be in my garden because they're just different, a big, something different to grow. Drumhead cabbage. Then I have Ford Hook giant Swiss chard, a Walt ham, broccoli, and Heritage Rainbow Blend carrots. And then in my possession right now, I have some Danvers half long carrots, these. I have cherry tomatoes, these are hybrids, so I got a mix of things in here. More rainbow mixed carrots because I got a feeling I'm gonna fall in love with them. I have Cherokee purple tomatoes. I love these because they're heirlooms. So I'm only going to get this variety, and they're so cute, so different, and it looks like they're going to be huge. So I'm excited about that. I have iceberg lettuce, calabrese, broccoli, and then these are for the fall. I have my fall sunflowers and some fall flowers I'm going to just sprinkle around the front yard. And I'm going to put the sunflowers in a pot. I just finished reading sunflowers and whether or not they're good for the garden, and they are. They sow themselves really, really deep, their roots, so it kind of aerates the soil. However, since they do that, they also take the nutrients away because they grow so quickly. So they take the nutrients away from the soil depending on what you grow. So if you grow something that's like soil dependent, which I hate to use that terminology because everything depends on good soil when you're growing it. But if it's something that's like that needs really deep soil, aerated soil for themselves to grow, and the sunflower will take all that away from them. So I'm going to plant these in pots and set the pots in between different areas of the garden because I want my pollinators to still come in the fall. I know a lot of things go dormant and stuff like that. Birds leave, different situations, but I want some things to stay. I'm going to plant those in pots. And last but not least, I have 2 types of peppers, and I actually have another group of peppers on the way. So these peppers are what I plan to grow as well. One's a jalapeno chili pepper and one's a pasilla bayo pepper. So that's what's coming next to grow. I've been collecting like all kinds of containers. I have a lot of plastic water bottles. I'm going to cut them in half, use the bottoms to plant a lot of my seeds. I have yogurt containers, stuff like that. I'm just keeping everything I could think of to plant, and I'm planting. And then I also have some trays coming to plant in as well. Now I've seen various things about trays and stuff like that, but like I said, you want to save a little money. You might have to put a little more effort into it, but you do what's best for you and your budget, and just grow and grow. So I'm using those containers. They come 72 individual pockets, and there's 10 trays in a pack. So I get to plant like 720 seeds plus all the plastic that I'm collecting. So that should come and arrive on Friday. In the meantime, I'm looking for a table that I can put in my house, 2 tables possibly, to hold the tray, because I'm going to start inside. As you notice, you can see all of this light like flooding around me, and it's just still not all the light because I don't have everything open, but my kitchen is amazing. It has the recessed lights that go up. You kind of lean in, so you're able, the sun is just immaculate in the kitchen area, and I'm going to plant like so much stuff. I was given a tomato plant on one of my shift shops because I fell in love with these people's garden in their front yard. And I mean, it was massive and just beautiful. Stuff was just growing all over the place. It was like walk through, just beautiful. And they gave me a tomato plant. So it is like, it started like this small, size of my head, like the height of my head. And now it's twice the size of my head. And that's not including the root and the pot itself. And it's just starting to kind of tilt to the side a little bit. So I know it's time to get it a trellis. And so far, it hasn't grown. It's the top of it, I think, is reached the point where it's a lot of leaflets coming, and I'm just starting to see where it has like a little baby knockoff plant that I can snip in the future and grow another one. So I should have asked him whether or not it was like an heirloom or if it was a hybrid, but we'll see what comes of it. I think he said it was like a little cherry tomato plant, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, so those are the things that I am planning to plant. However, there was a delay on my shipment, so I've been tracking it like I said, and it's making me change my mind about planting a lot of things just because the weather's so unpredictable once you hit fall and winter here in the south. So I'm going to change up a little bit of the things I decided to plant. I won't plant as much because a lot of this stuff is still new to me as far as like dealing with the bugs and the things that come of it. And I am glad that I did like a raised bed situation, so I'm happy about that. So just a work in progress. Oh, and I also have grapes out there, grapes, raspberries, and blackberries. So I got like one blackberry, I got one strawberry. The grapes I'm sure will come next year because the vine is doing excellent. But I'm sure I'll get grapes on there next year. So for the winter, just before the first frost, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it back. I'm gonna cut the raspberries back, cut the blackberries back, and trim everything off, and then give it a chance to create new wood and everything go dormant properly, healthily. I don't think that's the word, but healthily, and let it do its thing so it can be ready to come back in the spring with some good fruit. Same for my roses. They'll probably go dormant on their own, but I'm gonna dehead them, fertilize them, get them all set up and covered and ready for the fall as well. And my goal, you guys, I know I'm going on a wild tangent right now, but my goal is to have a greenhouse. I want to get a greenhouse. I found one on Amazon. It's cheap, but it's not cheaply made. It's cheap in the sense of it's made with durable material. It has a door, it has it's like $400 or $500, and it'll fit perfectly in this area of my yard. And I really, 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 really want it. So that's the goal. So step 1 was your first frost date. Step 2, I told you guys what I have now. So just consider what you have now and what you might want to pull if you have things planted. If you have nothing planted, then you're good. Start from scratch. Jump down to what I'm growing. Next, I told you guys about my seed boxes and seed containers. And then I have to deal with these bugs. And like I said, I have a lot of things that I want to try with the bugs. So I guess I'll talk about where I'm planting all this new stuff. So I made a chart. I'm going to show you guys. I'm just going to hold it up and be a little less tech savvy right now. But here is my chart, as you can see. So there it is. Right here, I'm so excited because I'm going to do like a pumpkin patch. I have some pumpkin seedlings that are already in the ground, but I'm going to move them and retill them because right now they're in this pool with corn in the center. And I'm going to take all of that out and kind of refresh and restart it. I was able to transplant them easily from another company called Grow Joy, and they sent the little seedlings. So the pumpkins, they're growing, they're doing pretty well. So I'm going to move them and just make this whole like pool area the pumpkins. And then on this side, you know, it might flip-flop and plant something else. Down here, so this is what's there now as far as the garden itself. But this here, a lot of the fruits and vegetables are coming out. A lot of stuff is being pulled and replaced with what you see here. So I have going across, I'm going to do marigolds because I found out that they protect the plant from like a lot of different elements and a lot of different insects. It kind of ward them off with the smell and the colors and stuff like that. But they also attract the bees and pollinators. So I want that to remain. So in the corner here, I have watermelon already growing. So this is where my one little tiny watermelon is doing so well so far is. So I'm going to leave that. But I don't see too many more growing on the vine. So after that one does whatever it does, with its splits open and we can't eat it or it's successful, I'm going to pull this out. The cantaloupe, I was about to pull it, y'all. I grew 3 cantaloupes. 1 didn't make it, 2 did. 1 was extremely sweet. 1 was really close to being sweet because it popped, the vine snapped because of the rain. But there's 2 more growing, 2 little like golf ball sized cantaloupes. So I'm just gonna keep that going through the fall, or however long it takes for them to turn yellow, and keep it rolling there. And then over here is where I have my eggplant that I was talking about. All of this eggplant, except for this little baby back here, they weren't doing well because this is where I had my tomatoes. I had 3 tomatoes growing. I think they were just too close together. I didn't pay attention to the type of variety that they were or nothing. I just literally did stick them in the ground and water them, which was horrible decision to make. But so I pulled all of these tomatoes, and that's why that's empty. So right now I just have this 1 eggplant and 3 pepper plants, which I still don't think these pepper plants get along with this eggplant. But I also think that these grew so quickly, and I had the tomatoes there, it was blocking the sun from this one, so it was really, really small. And now it's just starting to put on like a lot of leaves now that the tomatoes are gone and stuff like that. My peppers right here, 1 pepper isn't doing too well. I think it's not getting enough sun. I think it's being blocked by the first 2 pepper plants. But it is starting to, but it's the most healthy. of the three. The ones that are putting off a lot of fruit consistently, that one of them has leaf blight. I gotta figure it out. So these eggplants are doing well. These are the ones I want to self-pollinate because they have purple flowers on them. These are my cucumbers that I'm about to go to war with before it takes over my garden. And then in between, I used to have basil. I pulled all the basil, I dried the basil, and I have some other basil growing in other places in containers. I'm going to use that basil, split it, divide it, transplant it, and put it all back in between, because basil in combination with our radishes and thyme will help ward off some more of the insects. And here I want to plant collard greens right next to them, and in between the collard greens will be radish and thyme. So they'll ward off insects and also provide some stimulation to the soil. And then the radishes, when the caterpillars come, certain cabbage plants and cabbage bugs and leaf bugs that like cabbage and lettuce and kale and spinach, when they come, they'll take and eat the radishes first, so it's a little mild distraction before we get into my collard greens. So hopefully that'll be enough. I might plant like one extra. I have 3 collard greens here, but I might plant like one extra just to be on a safe side if those get eaten up. And then down here in the corner I have 4 okra coming, so 4 okra plants I want to plant. And in the middle I'm going to do a pepper for the same thing, companion planting to ward off insects. And then here I have green peas. My goal is to plant 2 peas, make a nice trellis that goes to the other side. So I have a trellis here because this is the entrance to my garden. So you actually walk in this way. So the trellis will go over the entrance and meet the other peas on the other side. Then I'll start my tomatoes over here. Plant them in a different spot, giving them a second chance. And then my goal is to put more lettuce and other pepper plants and stuff over here as well. I have carrots, like I said, the Swiss chard, all of those things, grape tomato plants, all of that is going in the new garden plotted section. So that is the plan, guys, for what I'm doing. And I'm excited. So I'm just tracking my seeds, waiting for my seeds to come so I can get started on planting all this stuff. Throughout the video, you'll see lots of pictures. At the end of this video, you'll see lots of pictures about my garden and the progress. And I will update you guys on how the situation turned out with the cucumbers and the gnats and the leaf blight on my peppers. And I'm just going to make sure I do my best to keep on posting. I have to keep posting because I know you guys are watching, because some of you are beginner gardeners and I want to be as helpful and give you as much information as I can to get you started. So I hope that this was helpful in the least bit. Like I said, just know your first frost date, calculate the time frame from when you can start your plant. Like on the back of these peppers, they have a germination date. See that? 10 to 12 days to germ. That's how long you get to put them in the ground before you start, or put them in a pot, and you'll see green pretty much. And then days to harvest, 70 to 75. That's what you'll put in your box, which is roughly like the end of August, early September, from November 17th for me. So that's how long I need to grow these, give or take 2 weeks. So like when these plants come, everything should arrive at the same time. I'm going to find every table that I can around my house and just spread everything out. And just spread everything out and get started planting so things can start growing, so I can put them in the ground at a decent time. And of course, be mindful of all the process it takes for transplanting, because they can go through a slight transplant shock. So y'all pray for me, pray that it all goes well, pray that I get my greenhouse somewhere in this time frame. I'm really pushing and really like want to do this. And like I said, I'm going to leave a link also, because before I purchased my seeds, I really wish I would have came across this. This is Louisiana Vegetable Planting Guide. Now you might have a planting guide in your state, but this is my state, and it gave everything from the planting date, space between plants, depth to plant, all that kind of stuff. And then based on our area, it gave cultural recommendations on when to plant things. This is the list that I was about to make, and I still am. I'm going to tailor make it to what I'm actually growing, or I might just go in here like highlight. I might cheat and highlight, I don't know. but they give you the list. There's some more of things you can plant in our area. And then it went a step further, and this is why I said I wish I had this when I bought my seeds. They tell you which varieties are best for your area. And out of everything on this list, I think I only have like 5 things that match what it says can grow in our area. So apparently the website where I got my seeds is more of the varieties for wherever that location is, which I think is in like California. I think that's where my seeds are coming from. So it's more prevalent probably to what can grow in California versus what can grow here. So there you go. Once again, I'm learning something new. So for the future, I'm going to pay close attention to these guides and make sure that I'm aware of what's going on here. Matter of fact, I'm about to test myself because these were in our local grocery store in Louisiana, and I want to see if they made the cut. So here are the Danvers half-long carrots. Let's see if they're on the list. Look at that. Look at that. Do y'all see the carrot? Do y'all see it? Right here. Danvers. So that made it. Let's see what else. What else I have here? Lettuce, tomatoes. Let's go to tomatoes. The tomatoes I have are Cherokee Purple and Tricolor Cherry Mix Hybrid. So let's see. I don't see those. Okay, so I was gonna say, hey, look. And it even has the symbols to tell you what each acronym and things like that mean, and what the plant can, if you buy that particular variety, what diseases it'll resist. So that's pretty cool on here. Like, this is from the actual college that deals with farming and things like that, and it has recommendations on fertilizer. Like, I was like, where's this been all my life? I needed this. So I suggest you go find the planting guide for your state, and that'll help you get started too with some ideas and give you some knowledge that you just didn't have. Like, I'm going to read through this like it's a piece of homework because it's gonna make a difference in my garden. So I encourage you guys to go out there, grow something, plant a seed, and see what you can get. You won't know until you plant one seed at a time, okay? So thank you for watching my channel. Make sure you like, leave some comments if you have any questions, leave comments if you have any suggestions. Please be nice, please be kind, don't be mean. We're trying to make the world a better place, not a bad one. If you do have something negative to say, just say it nicely. We're adults, we can handle it. So yeah, so like, comment, subscribe, and share my page with somebody else. And I love you guys. Thank you for watching my channel, and I promise in a couple of months I will give away a few things, so stay tuned. Somebody might even get one of these lovely bad boys so they can keep their seeds in their possession and keep them safe and dry in a cool, dry place. We don't want them germinating and getting wet. So thank you guys for tuning in. I love y'all. I'm Pernethyia. Make sure you come back because I got more videos. I told you I'm going to give you some updates on the progress of my cucumbers. I'm going to show you what's growing in my garden again and how it turned out when I did the planting of my new seeds that are in the mail, and I hope they arrive today. All right, I love you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.